Good morning, Kansas City. It's me, Velia Chavez, your favorite Reese Nichols real estate agent. And today I'm here to answer a very important question. It's 2022, it's a new year, and many of you are ready to start making that purchase of buying your first new home. And one of the main questions that I'm getting is, how much money do I need for my down payment? Well, that depends, but I'm here because the real question is, how much money in total will I need to purchase a home? Because the down payment is just one part of the expense. So I wanted to go over some of the expenses that you need to plan ahead for when you're thinking about buying a house. So there are 8 things that I want you to consider that you need to plan for and budget beforehand. Those things are your earnest deposit, inspections, the appraisal, the title fees, the bank fees, the insurance and taxes, and the down payment. So I'm going to give you a little breakdown of how much on average I see. These fees that I'm going to give you are just an average. There's many factors that will determine your final outcome, but my goal with this video today is to help you be over prepared, plan ahead in the event that your seller does not want to help you with some of the closing costs, in the event that you have to pay for inspections. The last thing I want you to do is that you miss out on buying on the house of your dreams because you did not budget properly to come up with all the fees that are necessary to purchase your home. So just to kind of go over real quick, one of the first things that you'll need to spend money on will be the earnest deposit. What is this? The earnest deposit is basically once your offer has been accepted by the seller, you will have to put down a security deposit to make sure that house is on hold for you while you do everything else that needs to happen for the closing. So that on average, it's going to depend. Again, that's a very personal decision that you'll have to discuss with your real estate agent so they can advise you on what's recommended. So I'm not going to give you an actual number, but I want you to plan ahead that it can be anywhere from $500 to $5,000, or it can even be more depending on the range of the house that you're shopping for. So keep this in mind that you at least want to have, on average, my buyers that are buying houses that are between $250,000 $300,000, on average they're paying anywhere between $5,000 to $2,000 on the earnest money. And this is important, but you'll need to talk to your agent about what are some of the pros and cons of giving a bigger or a lower earnest deposit. Inspections. If you plan on having your offer contingent on inspections, that means that it has to pass everything for you to move forward with the offer. Then you'll need to plan to have anywhere between $500 to $1,000 for inspections on one home. This is very important because you don't want to say, hey, well, I can't do the inspections. I have 12 inspections because I don't have the money. You want to be sure that you're making the right choices because you have budgeted for this. The other expense that you have to come out of pocket out front is the appraisal. An appraisal is something that it's a fee you have to pay to the bank so they can send someone out to make sure that the house is really worth what you're offering. So if you're offering $300,000 for a house, the bank has to go out and make sure, hey, yes, this house is worth $300,000. If it's not worth it, they're going to be like, sorry, this house is not worth it. We're not going to lend you the money to buy it. So it's very important to save for that. Also, I've seen appraisals anywhere from $450 to $750 on average. Again, it's going to depend on the appraiser your bank uses. Title fees, that's going to also vary, but on average, I would anticipate you have at least $1,000 to $1,200 set aside for title fees. These fees vary, so you can also go on the title company's website. Most title companies have calculators on their website where they can let you know kind of in advance how much you need to have ready for their fees. There's also bank fees. The bank fees and the title fees, those are part of your closing costs. And sometimes people depend on, oh, well, I'm going to have the seller pay the closing costs for me. Well, in this current market, not every seller is willing to pay the closing costs. It happens a lot less often than we would think it does. So you need to be prepared for this. You want to make sure that you have that in case the seller doesn't want to sell you your dream home because you didn't have the money for the closing costs. Another amount you need to budget for is insurance and taxes. You'll need to bring this money on the day of closing as well, and that's going to depend on who you choose for your insurance carrier. So you'll have to get an estimate or a quote from different insurance companies to find out which one's going to be the best value as far as having the right coverage and a price that fits your budget. Also taxes, it's going to depend on when you buy the house. You'll be responsible for taxes from the day of the purchase to the rest of the year. So make sure you have that money also set aside. After all these expenses, then that's when you'll have to pay the down payment. And the down payment, it just depends on your loan. You know, a lot of my buyers work with FHA loans, which on average asks anywhere between 3 to 5% down. So if the house is a $300,000 house, you want to have at least $9,000 to $15,000 for your down payment, just to have that, depending on what your bank. But your bank will let you know in advance what that exact amount will be. Some buyers use conventional loans. Conventional loans, just depending on your credit, it can be anywhere between 3% up to 20%. So that's something you'll have to find out from your lender, how much money you'll need for your loan. And yes, there are programs that offer down payment assistance, but you also have to check and see if you're eligible. Sometimes a lot of my buyers are planning on getting that down payment assistance, but then they find out that they're over the income threshold to qualify, or their credit score is not high enough to be eligible for it. So those are things that you'll have to talk to your lender about and find out exactly how much you'll need. But these are at least 7 things or 8 things that you need a budget for. You need a budget for your earnest deposit, inspections, appraisal, your title fees, your bank fees, your insurance and taxes, and your down payment. And there's a few other little fees that I'm not being specific. All these amounts will be finalized before closing, but a lot of times I know some of my buyers have money that they're going to use for the down payment in their 401ks, and so they cannot pull that money out until the offer has been accepted, and they cannot start using that money for the inspections and the earnest money. So you need to make sure you have a good amount of cash separate from the down payment that's readily available to cover all these expenses before the actual closing. Again, this is something that you'll have to discuss individually with your title company, your insurance company, your agent, your lender. Most importantly, ask your lender all the questions. Find out in advance what fees you have to pay them, because they can tell you based on your credit and your history. Those are very independent fees. So I hope this video helped, though, to at least give you a good idea of how much you kind of need to start budgeting for in order to start looking for a house. So that's all I have for today, guys. If you have any more questions and you think you're ready to start shopping for a house, give me a call.